Pundit thinks Spurs player will continue to be exposed in Postecoglou's system. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Before we dive into this update, be sure to press that subscribe button and keep up with all the latest news. Romania star Florin Gardos is of the opinion that Ange Postecoglou's extremely high line will not work in the Premier League, insisting that Radu Dragusin will be exposed if the Australian persists with it. Dragusin came into the lineup for his first start of the season at St James's Park after Micky Van de Ven was ruled out with an injury. The 22-year-old did deliver an accomplished and solid display overall, but he looked troubled when the ball was played in behind the Spurs backline for the pacey Newcastle forwards to run onto, with the centre-back making a couple of last-ditch tackles. However, he cannot be blamed for either of the goals that Tottenham conceded, with his defensive partner Cristian Romero vacating his space for the home side's opener, leaving Harvey Barnes unmarked. Gardos has laid the blame squarely on Postecoglou for the loss, suggesting that the high line was suicidal in the lead-up to Newcastle's winner. The former Southampton man told Digisport about Alexander Isak's goal. "That's why I'm not a fan of Postecoglou, and I don't think he'll have any notable performances. Joelinton has the ball a few metres from the centre circle and Tottenham's backline is in midfield. You can have Usain Bolt on defence, he still doesn't get to those kinds of balls. It's a pity for Dragusin, he played well, but if something doesn't change he will be exposed in every match." The one thing that is undisputed is that we look extremely vulnerable at the back as soon as our first line of press is broken. Playing such a high line with no pressure on the ball can be suicidal unless Spurs have the pace of Van de Ven to bail them out. Fabrizio Romano says Tottenham still appreciate summer midfield target. Tottenham were linked to Eberechi Eze all summer, but no move materialised for the Crystal Palace playmaker. Now, Fabrizio Romano has remarked on the situation, and the reason the transfer didn't happen is simple. At one point earlier in the summer, particularly around the end of Euro 2024, Eze seemed destined to join Spurs. The player himself was thought to be keen on the switch, and he very much fit the profile of the kind of target the Lilywhites were looking at. However, by deadline day, talk had gone relatively quiet on all fronts, and Eze will remain a Crystal Palace player until January at the very least. The 26-year-old was believed to have had a release clause of £60 million, plus add-ons, but that has now expired. Discussing the situation and why Eze didn't end up leaving Palace, Fabrizio Romano said in his daily briefing that in the end, no firm offer came from Spurs. He said, "No club did trigger the release clause and there were no concrete contacts. So in the end, that was the reason he remained at Selhurst Park." Manchester City for sure had him on their list in 2023, and it's true that Tottenham appreciate him, but there was never any formal bid presented from either club or any other this summer. This may not be the end of the saga though. A report from the Daily Mail this week claimed Eze's release clause will become active again next summer. It certainly feels as though Palace were half expecting to sell Eze, as the club's chairman, Steve Parish, told Sky Sports that he was shocked when no offer came in for the midfielder this summer. Darren Bent believes Tottenham Hotspur desperately missed Micky Van de Ven and his pace during their defeat to Newcastle. Micky Van de Ven was expected to be fit to make the trip to St James's Park, but the centre-back was ruled out at the last moment, with reports indicating that Ange Postecoglou chose not to risk the Dutchman, even though he did train prior to the game. The game followed what has been an all-too-familiar pattern for the Lilywhites in the Postecoglou era, with the away side dominating proceedings and fashioning several opportunities, only to fluff their lines. They were predictably made to pay by the Magpies, with goals from Harvey Barnes and Alexander Isak, in either half ensuring that Tottenham went home empty-handed. Bent believes that if Tottenham had the security of Van de Ven's recovery pace, they could have squeezed higher up the pitch and really suffocated Eddie Howe's men. The former Spurs striker told TalkSport, "They missed Van de Ven massively. There was one situation where Isak thought he got through and Dragusin came back and caught him. But I just think Van de Ven, he just gives you that pace. They can squeeze up and cover behind because they are playing so high. You need that pace." Perhaps one can make the case that Tottenham might not have conceded the second goal had Van de Ven played. However, we still squeezed high up the pitch and played most of our football in the Newcastle half. It is the lack of ruthlessness in the final third that let us down on Sunday, and the former Wolfsburg man would not have solved that issue. Tottenham's agreement with Real Betis for Johnny Cardoso is being viewed as a game-changer for the club, with Football Insider underscoring its potential impact. Spurs have secured a priority option to sign the American midfielder as part of the deal to transfer Giovanni Lo Celso to Betis for £5 million. This gives Tottenham the advantage of signing Cardoso for £21 million next summer, should they opt to trigger the clause. This deal is seen as more than just a footballing asset. The report suggests that signing an American international like Cardoso could considerably boost Spurs' profile in the US market. With the Premier League continuing to grow its fan base in America, Football Insider's Pete O'Rourke noted that adding a US-based player could enhance Tottenham's brand and reach in the region while speaking on the Inside Track podcast. Spurs have already experienced success with their pre-season tours in the United States, where large fan turnouts highlight the league's popularity. Securing a player like Cardoso would not only strengthen Tottenham's midfield, but also serve as a strategic move to tap further into the American audience. Cardoso's recent performances in La Liga and the Conference League, where he made 19 appearances while contributing with a goal and 2 assists, demonstrate his potential to make an impact on the pitch. As Tottenham monitors his progress, this deal could ultimately prove to be transformative for both the team's competitive ambitions and its international expansion strategy. That's all for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with all things Tottenham, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications on our latest content. Don't forget to like this video and share it with fellow Spurs supporters. Let's grow our Tottenham News Today community together. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on you Spurs!